That's a sketchy golden, eh? Oh, you're a big man now. Unfortunately, we get these guys all the time. We do get happy-go-lucky Goldens, but unfortunately, sometimes we get ones like this. Hey, buddy. There you go. All right, guys, so we're here at the Shield Canine Kennel, and I am going to be doing a kennel tour slash an educational video because I know a lot of people are like, that kennel is too small, that kennel isn't right for that dog, blah, 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 blah. So I'm actually going to do an educational video educating you guys on how to kennel dogs and why we kennel the dogs in the way that we do. Because everything that we do is on purpose and nothing we do is by accident, and we spare no expense when it comes to housing the dogs, whether they're clients' dogs or our personal dogs in our care, and ensuring that the dogs have the most conducive environment and housing situation to their training and to their mental and physical health. As you guys can see in here, we have, for the most part, 4x4 runs. I have an 8x4, I have two 8x4 runs here. But for me, the 4x4 is the ideal size for the dog. Now, most of our 4x4 runs actually do run out to a 10x4 outdoor run. As you can see, we've got the guillotine doors in between that go up and down that allow the dog to access the exterior. So as you can see, all you gotta do is pull one of these and the dog can go outside, right? For me, this is ideal because this is a training kennel. This is not a kennel where dogs live their entire life in this 4x4 box. I can understand why people say, oh, these kennels are too small because it's not enough space for a dog. It's not enough space for a dog to live. But the dog should not live in the kennel. Even if it was like a 10x10, it's still not enough space for a dog. Dogs need to get out. They need to be appropriately mentally and physically stimulated, which is provided with good training and structured play, which all our dogs that are in this kennel receive. So this is a training kennel. Most of the dogs that you see here are here for training, right? Whether they're learning something new, whether we're working through some behavioral issues, as you saw with Mr. Golden Retriever, or whether they're existing clients that have come back and given us their dogs for a refresher. So these are not 24/7 living situation, right? For me, again, 24/7 living situation, you need way more space than even like a 10x4 or a 10x6. Like it's not something that we do here. So these dogs come out and train. The reason why I like the kennel to be smaller, right? Like 4x4 for me is plenty big, because it gives the dog more than enough space to stand up, to stretch, to turn around, to lie down, so on and so forth. And that containment actually makes the dog feel safe. I might even make the kennel smaller if I was able to, but that containment actually keeps the dog feeling a little bit more calm. As you can see, it's actually fairly calm in here, right? For me, even my personal dog, so like Chico lives in the kennel. He doesn't live in the house with me. You guys all know Chico, right? He lives in the kennel. And for me, Chico lives in a 4x4. I have these 8x4s I could put him in. I have the 5x7s that I'm gonna show you in there that are even bigger. But for me, my preference is for the dogs to live in the 4x4s because I take them out more than enough that they get all the stimulation and exercise they need outside. A lot of people also make this mistake with houses, right? Like they say, oh, an apartment isn't big enough to keep a dog. It's like, yes, it is. In your house, in your home, whether it's a big home or a very small home, your dog should be in a state of relaxation and calm, as you can see that the dogs are in here. And the reason they're calm is because they don't live here 24/7. They're getting out a lot for training. They're doing a lot of training outside. Now, of course, sometimes we come in here and there are certain dogs that are making a whole bunch of noise because they're just, more of the high energy, defensive, reactive, so on and so forth type of dog, and maybe they're a little bit more new to the kennel situation. I actually wanted to educate you guys that 4x4 is actually a really ideal situation when it comes to a kennel. Now, you'll also see that we have kind of more of an industrial looking kennel with, we've got the sheet metal on the walls, we've got the galvanized gates, so on and so forth. That's to reduce rust, and that's to make them as easy as possible to clean. We don't want any germs living in here. When you have a lot of dogs coming in and out, it's so important. So many kennels struggle with kennel cough and other transmissible diseases, right, that dogs can pass to one another. So it's so important to be able to sanitize every surface on a very, very regular basis, as in multiple times throughout the day. So it's really, really important that we be able to clean up every part of this kennel on a regular basis and keep everything sanitized. And that means that we can't have any absorbent surfaces, we can't have anything that stays wet, and we need everything to be clean and to dry as quickly as possible. I know a lot of people say, those kennels are terrible, they're so small. No, they're not. That's actually where the dogs go to decompress and to relax after training. Outside is the place where we allow the dogs to expend their energy and be in a state of full power, so to speak. I do want to powder coat these gates, and I will probably powder coat these gates at some point, but that's just something that's aesthetic. The dogs don't care whether they're gray or they're powder coated black. I'm going to show you guys now some of the other kennels that we have.
Dragged on walks. Is walking your dog dangerous and uncomfortable? We fix pulling in 10 minutes. Teach your dog how to walk on a loose leash in our no-pull walking course. Course available now at Shield Canine Online.
Okay guys, so one of the things that you'll also notice, or maybe you can't see it in the video, is that all the floors are pitched towards the middle, and that's because drainage needs to occur extremely fast. Whether a dog eliminates in the kennel or whether there's water on the floor, we want all the water to flow down to that center drain as quickly as possible, which allows us to ensure that the kennel remains in a state of sanitary dryness and cleanliness. The other thing that you'll notice is that I went with welded wire gates here. So my original gates were actually chain link. And for the most part, I've actually moved away from chain link because I found that a determined enough dog can actually rip through chain link. When you own a kennel, right? When you're actually keeping dogs on an industrial scale, you're building the kennel for the exceptions, not the rule. The reality is the majority of dogs go in the kennel, they cause no problem at all. But you've got like that 2 to 5% of dogs that will destroy literally anything, including heavy duty chain link. So you'll notice that I've switched now my kennel gates to this welded wire that's really, really strong, and I have yet to encounter a dog that can ruin this. But the original kennel gates actually had the chain link. So welded wire for me is key. Again, I want everything galvanized. I don't want any rust in here. You know, the problem is even if you paint these, unless you powder coat, and even if you powder coat, the dogs over time with their claws and maybe putting their teeth on the fence and stuff, they'll come through just about anything. And so it's best to kind of just leave everything in that kind of galvanized state. Makes it easier to power wash everything. So the other thing you'll see too is our divider walls are actually 2x4 clad in metal sheet. You know, I know a lot of kennels, they'll use like a kennel panel in between. The problem with kennel panels is, believe it or not, there are dogs. And again, we're a kennel that caters to dogs that have behavior cases. There's people that board with us and there's people that send us dogs for training that actually really have super bad behavior cases and really high anxiety dogs that will escape if they can, and they will actually chew through a solid kennel panel. So there's no dog that's going to be chewing through this. I'm pretty sure I could keep a tiger in here and he wouldn't be able to chew through this. And again, it's all about the safety of the dogs and effective containment of the dogs when they're not out with us training. So one thing you'll see, guys, is that all our dogs have one of these Kuranda beds. And again, remember how I was saying that we make everything in the kennel for the 2 to 5% of dogs that are really, really destructive? A lot of people will look at these beds and they think they're uncomfortable. These are actually really comfortable beds. I actually have one of these in my house for my dogs, and they really like to sleep on it. But the fantastic thing about the way that this bed is designed is it is very, very difficult to ruin. I say it's difficult to ruin because it's not impossible. We have dogs that do dig up the canvas and eventually chew their way through the canvas, but the fundamental structure of the bed with the aluminum legs and the steel corners make it very, very difficult for dogs to ruin. And again, everything being impermeable makes it really, really easy to sanitize and clean. So you'll see that every kennel here, with the exception of very few dogs, will have access to a Kuranda bed. There are some dogs that are so destructive that they will go through the canvas, even though it's really heavy duty, in a single day. And for those dogs, we will use a heavy duty rubber floor mat. And that's what we do. And even though they'll still sometimes chew it, they're unable to chew it to the degree that I'm concerned that they're going to ingest any of the rubber or cause any significant destruction to the mat. But that's why we use the Kuranda beds. Okay guys, so we're standing out here in our potty break runs. These are 5x10 runs, and this is where we'll put the dogs out multiple times a day to eliminate those dogs that are in interior only kennels. And then the 4x4 kennels that I was showing you all run out to 4x10 kennels, right? So these are 4x10 outdoor kennels. And again, everything is designed that we can wash it, we can clean it. When you're keeping dogs on an industrial scale, it's different than when you're just keeping a few dogs at home. You have to be super hyper aware of sanitation and of also making everything as escape proof as you possibly can make it. So fencing, multiple layers of fencing and containment, and also being able to, you know, wash everything down with heavy duty kennel cleaner is so important in order to maintain the health and the safety of the dogs. Reactive dog, barking, lunging, chasing, pulling. Enjoy peaceful, pleasant walks again in as little as 1 day of training. Fast, effective training, that actually works. Think Shield Canine. All right, guys, so now we're in the main room of the kennel. This actually used to be my old training room before we had that big, beautiful facility that you guys see me filming in all the time now. We actually used to train group classes in this room. Now, as you can see, I have my friend Chico over here. There are some dogs that we will put in a crate because they're able to stay a lot more calm in a crate, and they're actually able to just really decompress and relax a lot more in a crate than they're able to in a 4x4 kennel. Now, I also have these kennels that I bought recently from, I believe it was Kennel Gear. I can't remember exactly. And as you can see, we got two working dogs in here. We've got, I think this is one of my staff members' Malinois. Yeah, this is Brooklyn's Malinois. And then we've got Mr. Archie over here who's chilling out. And these are really cool. I like them. They're, again, that same 4x4 construction, except the roof is a lot lower, so you can double stack. And then we got the cool plexiglass door. So these are cool. I really like them. But again, this is only for certain dogs. Some dogs just wouldn't do well in this. Not again because it's not big enough, but because they're so destructive that they would even like destroy these. Again, for me, the key is you see how calm it is. You see how quiet the dogs are? This is actually what I want. I know I film sometimes videos of the dogs barking on the fence because it's entertaining, but actually, like 90% of the time, this is what we want. We want the dogs in this state of calm because they've gone out, they've trained, they should be relaxing and calming down in their home, in their room, so to speak, and it's productive for them to be like that. This is a new portion of the kennel that we built. These are 7x5 runs, so these are, I believe, 28 square feet. And as you can see, these are significantly larger. Again, we've got the sloped floors. You see, I went with the powder-coated gates this time. I learned from that first kennel. Even still, I'm gonna have to redo these gates because you can see I had one dog actually break the welded wire here. The gauge was just not thick enough and he broke the welded wire there. So I'm actually gonna have to redo these gates, which I'm not too keen on, but it's gonna have to be done. But these are significantly larger kennels. I'll put certain types of dogs in here, dogs that can handle being in a larger kennel. And again, it's all about kind of knowing who we're dealing with. Some dogs do really well in here, and some dogs need the smaller kennels, and some dogs need a crate. Can you stop? It's not nice. Oh, look at Gizmo. Oh, so sad. Gizmo! Oh, you're gonna be all nervy now. Chico! Come on, Chico. Oh, it's so cute. All right, guys, so I'm standing out here in our big exercise field. As you can see, we turn the dogs out here a lot to rip around, get some exercise. We also like training out here because it's a safe, contained area. Approximately 1 acre in which we can train the dogs and have them off leash in a safe way before they're fully trained. I wanted to educate you guys a little bit about different kennel setups, you know, why you might go with one thing over another. So for me personally, with my dog Chico, I keep him in a 4x4, and you guys know Chico's my superstar. If it was better to put him in a bigger kennel, I would put him in a bigger kennel. For me, obviously, I want that dog to be in the optimum state of good physical and mental health, but to be honest, he's safer in the 4x4. It keeps him more calm, and then I get all of the dog when I take him out of the kennel to train and to work with, because that's when I need him to be at 110%. In the kennel, I need him to be resting and to be recuperating. And in my opinion, my clients' dogs should have the same. So I know a lot of people, again, they're commenting on the size of the kennel, and it's simply because they don't understand, because they've never obviously owned and operated a training kennel to the level that we have. But I want to share that information with you just to help you guys, you know, understand why there might be different kennel sizing. Now, if I was going to keep dogs, let's say I wasn't going to be training dogs a lot and the dogs would just be like living in the kennel the vast majority of the time, absolutely I would go with significantly larger runs, because you want the dogs to have more space. And I would be putting the dogs in enormous turnouts. Like I would be putting them in huge turnouts, because dogs need a lot of space. And even still, in my opinion, dogs need to interact with people, and they need to interact with them in a meaningful way. Not just, hi puppy, pet you on the head and give you food, but let's train, let's do something together, let's do something structured together, let's do something that maybe is a little bit, let's do something fun together, let's do something hard together. Dogs truly need this just as humans need this. And I don't think there's any size of kennel that you can give a dog that's going to give them that, or that's going to substitute that. That's my kennel tour, and that's my educational video on kennels. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.